Hello, my name is Christian Castro, and this is the future of flipped learning. So, getting straight into it, what is flipped learning? Flipped learning is all about lectures at home and active learning in class, which is classroom activities. And this is a switch on the whole traditional learning of having lectures in person, which takes away time from having that personal engagement with the teacher and your peers, and having homework at home, which could become overbearing and not as flexible. So this is all about preserving the synchronous time with the teacher and allowing for active learning of that interaction with the teacher and the students, and that this was also proved to help with the lectures as there's a performance boost with research stating up to 10% of higher outcomes compared to traditional passive lectures. And another thing is to point at the longitudinal research of over time. There was a growth in both the enjoying this method as well as academics, and this was over a 3-year period. And another thing is, what are the improvements exactly? It's improvements in flexibility. There's no need for private tutoring since they have that time in class to interact with the teacher and ask questions. It helps struggling students get the questions they need answered, and it's great for minorities, as Clifton High School points out, as they had time to ask questions to the teacher and watch videos on their way back home, as they were struggling because they can't ask their parents since they didn't know and they didn't have the resources. And another thing was about flipped learning that stood out to me was how females also seemed to improve best with this format, and they did way better than the males. And this was expressed like between all researchers, and it was highlighted as because they had better discipline, and this just stood out to me. So things to consider of why there may be struggles with this, or there was a big emphasis on the anxiety when it comes to flipped learning, and I think that came from, they said that in the express, like in the letters, that they felt like they didn't have that adaptability to it over time. And this goes into the next topic of losing old habits, where many first years felt like they struggled to adjust. And this was a really big common issue where they felt like it was not what they're used to. And I think this goes into why the longitudinal allowed them that adjustment and why they did enjoy it over time with that flexibility. Now, an issue that was a thing was workload, which was potentially overbearing at times with the amount of lectures and length, which I think that ended up leading to a decline of attendance, which was a good indicator on how good they did. So it kind of overlaps on each other, and I think this goes into the next really big point that they pointed out, was that this type of learning is very dependent on the level of discipline and design of the research of how it's done. And I think that this is really important because if Vu pointed out, shorter videos is really important to allow that engagement to not decline. And this is why their statement of starting off slow and soft is really important to me. There's also still hope, as the 3-year research shows that there was a gradual acceptance over time in the qualitative responses and student engagement. And this also highlights how even in the short time, there's way more engagement with flipped learning, with that interactive learning. Now, my thoughts, I think that I agree a lot for the need for more research, especially longitudinal, because I think that a lot of the common misconceptions of why they think it's bad can be overridden by the longitudinal research of being able to adjust better. And I think a lot of these issues of concerns will go away as they're implemented in more before higher education, like in Clifton High School, where when they do it in higher education, they'll be more used to it and be able to work around it way better. I was surprised by the gender gap, and that made me really think on the fact that how there's also that fact of there's a majority of teachers who are women, and I think that going back to this is really important because it highlights the gender differences and how we could potentially get rid of that gender equality. Because I think that that's a really important thing, but I think it also points to the need for, there's different formats of learning for all different types of people. Now, to conclude, I think I agree with Vu's optimism of over time this flexibility will allow for growth with this method, and I think that people just need to get adjusted to it overall. I think this allows for students to make the most out of their time, and the conflicts that are highlighted are not is all mainly because they're not being used to it rather than long-term issues, and I think over time they will be able to overcome this. Yes, I think flipped learning is really good, and I think we just need to get adjusted to it before we could really count it out. Thank you.